Hello, welcome back to my world of stuff. It's time for another film review. Before I crack into that review, however, I just want to say a big shout out to the handful of new subscribers I've had in the last couple of days. Not an enormous amount, but just a few more new subscribers have come on board. It's been a bit quiet for a few weeks. As you may remember, I got to 300 a few weeks back, and it sort of trickled upwards very slightly since then and sort of stuck for a little while. But we've had a few new subscribers in the last few days, so I would like to say to you new people who have come and joined me, welcome aboard. Hope you'll stick around. There's plenty of stuff going on here. You look back at all the previous videos, 280 odd now, film reviews, book reviews, out and about trips, occasional Blu-ray hunts, retro movie reviews, unboxings, the inevitable unboxings, all the usual bits and pieces you get on these sorts of videos. You'll find it all here, but delivered by me. So please stick around. If you have just discovered this channel now, you can press that subscribe button, which is located there. You can also leave a thumbs up, and you can also leave a comment and share. Tell other people if you like, because there's plenty of good stuff to come. Right, on with the film review. Right, today's film review is Hypnotic, directed by Robert Rodriguez and starring Ben Affleck. This is still lurking around in cinemas. Came out last week. I think it's got some sort of evening screenings in most cinemas, so you'll have to sort of work to find it, and it probably won't be around for much longer because it's not exactly a big box office hit. I think it cost $65 million. It's taken about $6 million worldwide at the moment, so not a hit. But worth mentioning because it's sort of a sci-fi conspiracy type thriller, directed by Robert Rodriguez, who is a pretty well-established name. It's very unlike the films he's done before. Looking back across his filmography, you've got obviously his kids' films like the Spy Kids film. There's another one on the way, apparently. Classics like Once Upon a Time in America. He's worked with Tarantino on Planet Terror, and of course the underrated cult classic From Dusk Till Dawn. He's done a lot of things over the years, and he's always a very special sort of, I feel, as an imprint of Robert Rodriguez, the slight maverick in the films that he's done. That's not particularly present in Hypnotic, oddly enough. Now, apparently it's a film based on his, he co-wrote it, and it was written and conceived way back in 2002, and apparently I was reading it's something that he's quite keen on. He thinks it's one of the best ideas he's come up with. Probably is, but unfortunately people also came up with it in things like The Matrix, Inception, and countless other films about artificial realities and constructs and imaginary fantasy worlds that people find themselves living in. As a result, this feels 15 years out of its time, 15 years out of date, because there's not really much here that we've not seen before. It's not a bad film, and it's not a waste of 90 minutes. If you do choose to go and see it, you will probably think, well, I'm glad it wasn't any longer, but it's perfectly serviceable, perfectly enjoyable. Not the most exciting film you've ever seen, but it's, it's perfunctory, but quite enjoyable. The story basically is that our man Ben Affleck plays Rourke. He's a police officer, and at the beginning of the film he's in therapy because sometime before his young daughter, Minnie, disappeared when he was looking after her in a park. He just took his eye off the ball. We hear these stories in real life so often that people just lose their attention on their kids for seconds and something happens. This has happened here, and his kid's been abducted by a young man who's later arrested, but he has no memory of having abducted the child, doesn't know where she is, whether she's dead, whether she's disposed of the body, whatever's happened to her. So Ben, who's a police officer, of course, he's living with the torment of the guilt of feeling that he's responsible for his daughter disappearing and not knowing what's happened to her. So it's a heavy burden to bear. He's carrying on with his police duties. He and his team are sent to a rumoured bank heist somewhere across the city. This is all set incidentally in Austin, in Texas. But when they get there, something rather strange happens. There's a mysterious character wandering around, played by the brilliant William Fichtner, and who seems to have the power to influence people's behaviour. First of all, he meets a young woman in the street and tells her it's a boiling hot day, it's a furnace, and she starts stripping off and walking into fountains because she thinks it's red hot. He starts influencing the security guards, he starts influencing the detectives so that they're on his side. There's something very strange about this bloke. Ben Affleck's character Rourke tries to arrest him, but he jumps over the top of a building. But not before a picture is recovered from a safety deposit box which leaves a clue to the whereabouts of Rourke's daughter. What happens from here on in is a story in a film that dabbles with those ideas that we're familiar with, that we're all living in a construct, that the world as we know it isn't real. It's a fantasy land. What's real, what isn't real, which scenario is real, who isn't real. And as I said, it's things that we are familiar with now. Going back to The Matrix, and again, Christopher Nolan's Inception dealt with that sort of thing, but waking dreams and so on. And there are other films that have touched upon this, of course, this sort of, especially in an age of virtual reality and so on. It's a popular sort of science fiction conceit. So as a result, this film doesn't really do anything particularly new with it. However, it's very competently put together. It's directed quite well. It's not a massively action-orientated film. There's a few little set pieces which are quite well done, but it's more, I suppose, it sort of wants to be a cerebral sort of science fiction film, but it's a bit too derivative for that. It's a bit of a puzzle box film as well, because it has that sort of feeling of, you don't know what's real, and the lead characters don't seem to know what's real. There's a couple of interesting twists in terms of what's happened to the girl, Ben Affleck's position in relation to the disappearance of the girl. I won't give you any spoilers about it in case you do choose to do it, but I think that's what more surprised me about the film, that the way the narrative sort of wends a bit, rather than the actual scenario itself, which is the stuff, as I said, that we've seen many times before. But it is entertaining. I mean, Ben Affleck's, I think he's a good leading man. I think he's quite underrated. I think because of possibly some early career moves that he made, and more recently his not particularly well received turn as Batman. But I think he's a good, solid leading man who delivers a good performance here. Also in the cast we have Alice Braga, we have Jeff Fahey, and as I mentioned, William Fichtner, who's a really good character in these sort of mystery roles, these sort of strangers who have secrets and things. He's very good. But it doesn't amount to anything very substantial. Now, as I said, it's not bad, it's perfectly entertaining, and I think, as I said, if you see it, you'll think, oh, that was all right, but no more than that. So, yeah, I think it's a decent effort, but it's not one that'll live in the memory. And as I said, it's something like a stone on the box office. I'm sure it'll be turning up on streaming before long, where you might want to watch it. But if it's on a cinema near you, support your local cinema and go and see it, because it's 90 minutes and there are a lot worse films up there. It's nothing new, but it's entertaining. It does what it does well. That's Hypnotic in cinemas now, and I'm going to give Hypnotic, I'm going to give it 6 out of 10. 6 out of 10, because it's that sort of film. It's better than middling, but not a lot, to be honest. So it's worth a look, but don't bust a gut. In cinemas now, as I said, probably on streaming quite soon. Right, thank you for watching. Before I go, just one other thing I wanted to mention. I think I might have mentioned in one of my out and about videos, I just want to give a shout out to the National Theatre, because yesterday I went to the Wales Millennium Centre in Cardiff, where I saw a stunning performance of Neil Gaiman's Ocean at the End of the Lane, book which came out about 10 years ago, I think it is. A very haunting, a very haunting fable, fairy tale, whatever you want to call it. It's a very good book, but the stage play is absolutely outstanding. It's quite a big story to compact and put onto the stage, but they've done it really well, altering some bits of the narrative. But if you read the book, if you know anything about it, you'll know and appreciate how good it is, and how good what they've done with this stage production is, because the visual effects are astonishing. The way the sets are moved around the stage is brilliantly done. The lighting, the music score, and of course, most importantly, the acting, which is faultless from a superb cast of young actors. And more seasoned performers who absolutely nail it. I mean, it's the second time I've been to the theatre in a week, and both times there's not been a dropped word or a fluff or a miscue. Just absolutely superb. I doff my cap to stage actors. It's an incredible craft to be able to master, and both these stage performances I've seen in the last week have been top quality stuff. So if you get a chance to see this, it's still in Cardiff for a few days, and it's touring the country. If you don't know anything about it, don't worry. I think you can pick the story up. But I think if you've read the book, I'm glad I read the book on the weekend, because I'd read it years ago, but I'd forgotten a lot of it. But reading it again, I was really sort of primed for how they're going to do this on stage and how they're going to do that. And it's done absolutely superbly. So it's not to be missed. It's called Ocean at the End of the Lens by Neil Gaiman, and the touring performance by the National Theatre is out and about at the moment. It's in the Wales Millennium Centre in Cardiff, I think, for the rest of this week, possibly until Saturday. And I know there are tickets available, so if this video goes up in time and if you're interested, go and have a look. Anywhere else in the country, it's hopefully coming your way. Right, thank you. That is me for now. Thank you for watching. I will see you soon. Coming up soon will be a review of the new Spider-Man animated film. I was proposing to see it on Friday, but I probably won't now, so it's probably going to be on the weekend by the time I see that. There'll be more from Indiana Jones and some other retro film reviews, which subscribers have mentioned. So if you've mentioned it, there's only a couple of requests, but they are on the back burner. They'll be coming soon. Right, I'm away. Thank you for watching. Enjoy the rest of the summer evening. It's a lovely night. See you soon. Till I do. Keep checking the stuff.